Well, you know how good Overthrow and Six String Slaughter are. They're apparently such badass songs. My brother Mike came by to jam it out with me, man. What's up, sir?
What's up, people? How y'all doing?
Very good to see you.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard that band. They're great, man.
Dude, man, I'll tell you what, we craft our playlist with the devil's ingredients around here, man. You know what I mean? So, hey, and there you go. For those hanging out, my brother Mike here, we'll play some of your music too. But I tell you what, everybody should already know who you are because you're Metal-O-Mania family at this point. We go back literally to the beginning of this thing almost. But
yeah.
In case they don't, introduce yourself to everybody, my friend.
I am Mike Bossier. I'm in Snipers of Babel and also in a band called Gaffled. And I run Oblivion Studios and record a lot of the local bands that have been on the show.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Love supporting local music and unsigned acts, and that's where it's at.
Well, and again, and your Metal-O-Mania family. We go back. I noticed you're wearing the Metal-O-Mania fucking Thrashgasm shirt, by the way, sir. I love you for that. Thank you for that, man. Look, I got my sniper's hat on, baby. You know, my favorite hat I got.
See you representing. I like that, man. That's awesome. Hell yeah.
Dude, I make a point. I don't leave this house without decking myself in some kind of metal gear for people. You know, well, shit, the truck is a moving bulletin board. So
that truck is nuts, man. If I saw that, I'd probably get in an accident because I'd be looking at every sticker. You know what I mean?
Oh, fuck. Stay safe, but look at the truck, people. Yeah. Hey, I got snipers on there, man. I got snipers on there.
Yep, I saw that. Yep.
And we have a Snipers of Babel song coming up later in the show for everybody. That's a little teaser, but
yeah, yep. We have so much music where, you know, I know we just released one a couple weeks ago, but get used to it because, you know, now that we're on a roll with getting back in the swing of things, you know, it's getting done and it's going to be coming out. So,
man, well, the result of our hibernation, if you will, you know, will be lots of art. Well, let's start there, if you don't mind. Let's go back and talk about the song we played a couple of weeks ago because Layla is amazing as always, man. I love Layla's voice, man. I love Layla. I love Snacks. She's also family. I wish she could make it with us today.
A wonderful person, man. Really is. Got a heart of gold. Her and her husband Rick are just awesome people. And she laid this down back in December, and because of a bunch of issues that arose, she wanted to do a couple harmonies and to not release it yet. So this is something we wanted to release, you know, coming up almost a year ago, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it was amazing to hear that song evolve into what it is. And my favorite performance by her by far, you know what I mean? Just, yeah, she really brought it. Just every time I hear it, I get the chills, you know?
Fuck yeah, man. Me too.
Yeah.
And I've re-listened to that a million times. And for a little background too, man, you know, you guys incorporate a lot of different people in and out of this project, right?
Yeah. We had Frank Rini from, he used to sing for Internal Bleeding. He came in the studio. He's an old friend of mine. He lives locally. And, you know, I had a part in there that I thought would sound great. And it did, man. It was like, it bowled me over when I heard it. You know, I was like, fuck, this is awesome. You know, it turned out way better than I thought it would, you know? So we were talking, you know, and then we're going to get him on a couple more songs, you know, as a guest vocalist. Well, and we've had Rich Johnson come in from Enemy Soil. He's in Agoraphobic Nosebleed. He does parts in Pig Destroyer and stuff like that. Old friend of mine. We go way back, man, like late 80s, early 90s. And he came in and did some stuff on another track that we haven't released yet. So yeah, it's just like, I get these ideas in my head and I'm like, that would be great for him or that'd be good for her. You know what I mean? So it's like doing the studio and in that kind of business, you meet so many people and network that I'm, you know, lucky to be able to like grab from that pool of people. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah,
it's really cool. Yeah.
Well, you know, you're a master wizard chef in the that's your metal kitchen, if you will. So
oh man, I don't know. Dude, I don't know what I would be doing if I didn't do what I'm doing. I would be in a lot of trouble, you know, because I stole cars for 7 years, but I repossessed them. I did it legally. Okay.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
There were some times when maybe it wasn't as legal depending on how you look at it, but
right
that that adrenaline rush, dude, I've always, looked for that. And if I didn't have what I'm doing here, I'd be out there doing that adrenaline rush, man.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah. So
well,
it's definitely saved me.
And me.
Through a lot of hard times, man.
And me. I'm glad you're doing that because you're helping me with my adrenaline rush as well. See that? By proxy, you making metal, you're saving a bunch of us fuckheads too. See?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. I think we were talking earlier before the show started, just the effect the music can have on somebody and how it can get them through the worst times. You know what I mean? And, having people tell us, that the music affected them in this way or that way is just like, man, it's worth more than $1 million, man. That's where it's at.
Fuck yeah,
we did a show years ago in Spine, a band I was in, and the show had been canceled, but we weren't told. We showed up anyway, and a couple people kind of showed up, and the owner was like, "Oh, the show's been canceled," blah blah blah. And the owner felt bad, and we were like, "Shit, you mind if we just set up and practice?"
Yeah, right. That's a nice open room.
Yeah, and he was cool with it, So we set up, and a kid came in who thought the show was still going on. One person, and he stayed, and we played, and it turned into a show for him. And midway through the show, he started bawling. Like it affected him in a way, and I'll never forget that. It was one of my favorite shows in front of one person. You know what I mean? Because he got it. You know what I mean? It was really cool. It was a great moment in time.
Oh, dude, I got goosebumps right now, dude. That's a baller metal story, dude.
Yeah, man. Yep.
That's it. Yeah. That connection's what it's about, man. I mean, dude, it can't be understated. And maybe I'm opening the window a little bit. Both of you guys, me and you have been around for a minute. We're not young kittens anymore, I guess is the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
But dude, without any doubt, I made it through the toughest years of my life heavily on the music I was listening to, man. It's hugely a part of how I got through, man. I can't overstate that.
Yeah, it is, man. And it's amazing when you can go back and listen to a song that you haven't heard in years, and it'll bring those feelings you had at that time right back to you, and you'll relive that, whether it's good or bad, unfortunately. But yeah, man, there's no other power like that, and I feel so sorry for people who don't get that. You know what I mean?
Me too, brother. Me too.
Yep.
This ride is brief. The marble spins so fucking fast on you, man, that without the soundtrack, without the
man,
what the fuck? I struggle to find its meaning with that shit. How do you do it without it? Fuck.
Yeah, I know. Like some of my favorite movies are because of the soundtrack. Who did the soundtrack and that kind of thing. It wouldn't have that impact if you didn't have the audio to go with what you're looking at.
So very true, brother.
Really good visually, but like, what did they do this on a Casio keyboard? You know what I mean? It's just right. Like, yeah, so it definitely means a lot, man.
So fucking true, brother. Good Lord, so fucking true, man. That's good shit. That is good shit. So, well, back to some of the music making, if you will. We played that song a couple of weeks ago. You got a whole bunch in the tank right now, right? Like, I mean, a whole bunch in the tank.
A lot. It's ridiculous. We're just going to put them out as singles every month or so, which I know we said this 9 months ago, but because of a lot of issues that arose, that kind of got on the back burner. But, instead of putting out a full length right now, waiting to get it done, we just want to get music out there and keep it fresh, and share it with the world,
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
And the world needs it. Holy shit, what a crazy couple of years it's been. Well, and that's on a global level. I know I'm not going to get into the trials and tribulations. I know you've had a rough couple of years too, man. And and on a personal level, I love you, brother. I appreciate that you're here hanging out with me, big
brother. Feelings mutual, man.
Fucking big time, man. So with all the craziness going on in the world, man, is there going to be shows? What are we looking at? It seems like we were starting to hear there's going to be shows, and now they're starting to not be shows. Like, what do you think, man? Do you got any guesses on what we're looking at coming up?
I'm looking at like really nothing till next year, like as far as us doing shows personally, it's probably, we got to get back in the swing of, getting in the same room together again, because, the COVID just fucked everything up, man. But as far as like the industry itself, it's, cause every week it's something different going on. you hear different things, you hear about new festivals, and then you're thinking, man, I hope they don't shut that down, or, so hopefully, hopefully it keeps going, but at the same time, it's like, hopefully we can get through this fucking COVID shit, man. Because COVID in one way or another has affected everybody in the world, whether they know it or not by getting sick, but just what COVID has affected, things around it. It's fucked up everybody's life,
Yeah, for sure.
And we just got to get through this, man. And it sucks when you hear, there's like this Delta variant or whatever, then it's, the existing COVID shot's only gonna be good for 4 months, or, just stuff like that. It's just like, man, got to get it together,
I know, what the fuck? We're supposed to be smarter than this, goddammit.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe this is happening. It really is. It's like 2021.
I know, man. It's fucking insane, right?
Yeah.
Well, where does the money go, brother? We just throw all the money away. Nothing gets produced anymore. We just steal it all.
Yep, basically.
Anything like this is viewed these days as a way for a grift.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people have gotten rich. How much production we've done is a whole different thing. So
yeah, right. I know. God,
there's some metal songs in there, I'm sure. There's some.
Yeah, definitely.
Corporate greed. Who knew? Brand new topic.
Yeah. What?
Who'd have thunk it? But
yeah.
That is fucked up, man. I know you spend most of your time basically in the studio these days, right? Is that what you bend your time doing?
Yeah. The last 2 years have been. Yeah, we'll probably talk about that on another show, but fuck, man. But like you said, music is, there was a time when I couldn't play music for a little while, and it was real dark period of my life. But I listened to it all the time, and then when I was able again to, get back involved with it, it was just like the best therapy, treatment that I've ever had, you know what I mean? Okay. And I started this new project called Gaffled with Jeremy, one of the singers in Snipers of Babel. And because I was just writing so much that it was like, I was writing stuff that wouldn't really fit Snipers. It was more like Spine was. I didn't want to waste all this awesome riffage on nothing, right? So
yeah, brother, get it out there.
Yeah, so me and Jeremy formed Gaffled, and everything fell in place, from there. We were talking before how what inspires people to write, in the art, music field, that kind of thing. And unfortunately, it is a lot of sorrow and sadness, is a big inspiration in writing. I know it is with me more so than anything. Unfortunately, it sucks that it is that, but because of the times lately, I just tapped right into it, and I just, picked up my guitar and just wrote, So yeah, I've got so much stuff. It's kind of ridiculous in a way, it's like, I don't know, because it's like, we still have all these other songs we got to get out there. You know what I mean? So we're just trying to get them out,
From dark and desolate places comes great metal, my friend. And
yeah, it does, man.
All things being equal, I'd prefer that you be happier and with less metal songs coming out of you and healthy. Right. You know what I mean? Hey, I'd take that over the other. But being that it is what it is, man, fuck yeah, I'm excited about the metal, though.
Yeah. We are too, man, and we the band has been going through a little bit of a metamorphosis, I guess you could say, or evolution, or, I don't know what word you want to use, but, of course, Tommy's not in the band anymore. There was a period of time when Jeremy wasn't in the band, and then we got Danny Boyko, Debo on vocals. Brutal shit, man. And then we got Jeremy back, and just the contrast between their styles is amazing, man. I got one of the best screamers, and I got one of the best death metal vocalists I feel, in the area in my band. It's just fucking awesome. Plus I'm getting guest vocal spots from other guys who are like so fucking brutal on more of a national level, So, it's been awesome, Unfortunately, with what's going on in Layla's life, she's going to have to take more of a back seat to things, and which is understandable. I mean, it's everyone has their thing, has things in life that they need to do, and things, prioritize. You have to and so everything is good with her, but she may not be able to do as many shows and that kind of thing. And of course, we wouldn't be able to do like Redemption or Your God's War live, because that's amazing stuff that she did. You know what I mean? So, you know, it would be
an adjustment.
You know, yeah, adjustment. We got plenty of songs to pick from, you know, so that's kind of where things are going. We still, you know, have her come in and do vocal spots and that kind of thing, you know, just more kind of like atmospheric and layered stuff, you know, in the background and that kind of thing. But, you know, life goes on, man. You know, it's just like, you just got to roll with it, you know, and there's no ill will towards anybody. Everyone loves everybody. You know, there's nothing like that going on. So I know people, you know, unfortunately, you know, and a lot of people love drama and they want, oh, what are the details? You know, it's nothing like that. You know, it's just, you know, way things now. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Life is its own details, my friend. You know what I mean? That's it. I find that answer comes in handy pretty often, even, man. Whenever people are like, what the fuck is up with this, life, man, what the fuck? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll assume you're doing your best. You assume I'm doing my best, and let's go with it, man. What the fuck?
That's it. That's all you can do, you know?
Yeah, it is crazy, man. My father used to have a saying that he'd always point to the clock in the room and be like, see that motherfucker? It is actively stealing everything from you right now, man.
Right.
Yeah. Your job is to fight that shit. So,
yeah,
you know, all the details in between, you know, people got to live their life, man. There's no ill will.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
And you get good people coming in and out of that studio. That just, you know, Layla will forever be a member of Snipers of Babel, regardless of the, you know, amount.
Oh, yeah. You know, always be a part of the family, man. Definitely. There's no doubt about that. And the people coming in the studio, you know, there's so much talent in this area, Baltimore, Washington, Virginia area, you know, and where I'm located, I'm lucky because you go a half hour in any direction, you know, you can be almost in Baltimore, in DC, in Virginia, you know what I mean? So it's, I've got a lot of good,
you're very centralized.
Yeah. You know, and so I'm getting people from all over coming up and that kind of thing. So the studio's picked up really well. In fact, it's like for a while I was getting really backed up, you know, for a minute. Things have kind of slacked up a little bit and got done with a lot of projects and stuff like that were almost done, but you know, because of a bunch of issues over the winter, you know, we couldn't wrap it up. So we got it all done this spring and summer, which is awesome because a lot of good music coming out there. We just got done doing a Hell Pie and a Deceased thrash album, a cover album. 12 thrash songs, and these aren't like the thrash songs like you're thinking Bay Area thrash. These are like more like, I don't know, like Destruction, that kind of side of it, you know, creator-ish kind of, you know,
the Teutonic bands. Yeah,
you know, more like I guess the German and European bands and that kind of thing, you know, which is awesome because a lot of people haven't heard that stuff, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right. Especially bringing it to a new generation, man. Yeah, I try to do that with my old school jam every single week, you know?
That's what it's all about, man, is discovering, like, a lot of the kids, you know, listening to music now, you know, the deathcore and the djent music or whatever. If they go back and they listen to certain bands, it's like, that stuff's been around for a while, you know what I mean?
Yeah, brother, right.
Yeah, and they can kind of find the source of it, you know, and it's even more exciting when you hear, like, where people, you know, where they got inspired by, you know what I mean? Yeah.
We all suffer from 5 minutes ago disease, man. You know what I mean? We all suffer from everything just was invented 5 minutes ago, no matter what it was. I just discovered it, so it must be brand new. But yeah, a lot of that shit predates, especially like, again, we're older cats. We remember the inception of some of this shit, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, that's why we do an old school jam every week. Every single week on our show, we do an old school jam because I try very hard to. The show is very much about the new shit. This show exists to tell people that there's brand new metal being made that's amazing. But every single week we throw in an old school jam because I want people to be able to remember that. Matter of fact, you know what? How about we do that? It's time for the metal sandwich. Let's play the metal sandwich for tonight, which has our old school jam in it. Speaking of the old school jam, and you'll keep hanging out with me, right? We still got a sniper song later in the show, so let's play everybody the sandwich. We'll come back. We'll bullshit a little bit more. How about that?
Sounds good.
Fuck yeah, brother. Well, kick ass. I got a sandwich set up for everybody. Matter of fact, we're going to open this up with the breathing process. The song is called Shadow Self. You're going to love this video, and that's going to go into our old school jam of the week, which is Possessed, baby. Our old school jam this week is Possessed.
Hell yeah. Right on. Eat that sandwich.
Yeah. You put a bib on. I tell everybody, put a bib on, baby. It's time for the sandwich.
Yeah, man.
And then we're gonna follow that up with some Terror Sound, Genocide of the Ignorant from Terror Sound. Fuck yeah!
Nice.
And I know you're a big Possessed guy, right? Tell me how much you love Possessed real quick before the sandwich.
Fuck, man, I got it on vinyl. Was Eyes of Horror?
Oh man, Eyes of Horror, yeah. The Eyes of Horror is the song we're gonna play tonight too. Yeah.
And this dude brought the album into school, okay? And I'm like, what is this? I thought it was like this, like, because back then, like Exorcist and The Omen, and then you see an album that says Possessed, it's like, fuck, I got to hear these dudes, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
I was blown away, man. I was like, and I found out they were like 16 at the time,
Yeah, they were still kids.
Yeah, and Debbie Abono was, that was her first band she managed, and her daughter was dating one of the guys in Possessed, and she kind of took it on as like a mom thing, you know what I mean? I'll take care of these kids, but that's where it started for her, man. And then she just blew up,
Blew up, right on.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, dude, good shit. What do you think of the argument? I have had this conversation or argument, even if you will, with people that I still say Seven Churches. I agree, Possessed is mostly a thrash band, but
Right.
Seven Churches, in my opinion, is the first ever death metal album that there ever was.
I agree, because when I heard that album, it was different. I was like, wow, this is, because I had just heard, like, around that time, Hell Awaits and Haunting the Chapel.
Yeah.
And I was like, they were going more in that darker territory, where Slayer was bringing that thrash into more of a darker kind of edge to it, And like you said, death metal. I was like, wow, this is, because at the time, there were like, death metal was like really young at that time. You know what I mean?
Oh, brand new. Yeah.
Yeah. Just starting to get popular, I think Napalm Death was like, a lot of bands were, like, I know when I was working with a producer back in the day, he was like, he brought Napalm Death and he's like, this is the next big thing. And I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome. You know what I mean? And sure enough, man, it blew up.
Blew up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that death metal thing took off. Now, granted, Possessed and did steer more thrashy, from that era. But
Right.
Hey, no lesser voice than Chuck Schuldiner at one point chimed in, saying that Seven Churches was the first death metal album. So,
okay, cool.
Pretty good guy to agree with.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with Chuck on stuff like that.
Fuck yeah. Rest in peace, brother. Miss you forever.
Yeah, he was a good guy, man. He was a sweetheart.
Fucking yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's revisit that. Let's play the sandwich and come back and talk a little Chuck, shall we?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Let's
all right.
Here you go, everybody. Put on your bib and enjoy the metal sandwich. Don't be full, because there's still more to eat after that.
Ooh, man, I'm full now, man. Good. That was good. That's all I needed.
That is a lot to eat, brother. That's a lot to eat. But save room for dessert. We still have the Starvers of Babel coming up, baby. So save room for dessert.
There you go.
Fuck yeah, man. But that was some good jammage. Good jammage, brother. We do good jammage around here.
Hell yeah.
I like to say I'm a parasite, man. I create nothing, but I share with you other people's genius. So there you go. And
you're just as important as anybody else, though, man. You know what I mean?
Continue your thought.
Back to, remember Wolfman Jack?
I love Wolfman Jack, dude.
Yeah. I watched American Graffiti the other night, man. I was like, yes, that he rocks, man.
Funnily enough, on one of our social media things, it might be our Facebook page, one of the quotes on there is, "I want to be your Wolfman Jack of metal."
There you go. That's it.
Sir.
Perfect. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I should change my voice and get a little scratchier.
Right.
That's a little bit of that old death metal there for you. Yeah. Fuck yeah, man. And we threw some Possessed in there for you. So, but we were talking a little bit about Chuck before that sandwich, man. And I honestly had forgotten, but yeah, you got to play with Chuck, man. You got to tell me more. Give me more.
Yeah, the band Spine I was in, played with them a couple times, and nicest guy in the world, man. It just Southern boy, you know what I mean? Just Southern accent, talks really soft, and then he's got the most brutal death metal voice. It's the contrast is funny when you talk to him. You can't believe it.
Right, like, this is that guy. What the fuck? Right.
Yeah. and Gene Hoglan was playing drums. This was probably in like '96, and we were at a club called Nick's in Alexandria, Virginia, and just seeing Gene Hoglan in just this little club with Death, it's just like, this isn't happening, man. You know what I mean? It was so fucking crazy.
Amazing. Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, our manager at the time, Laura Porter, she was good friends with Gene, and when we went down to LA to meet with Laura, she took us out, and we went to an XL show, Creator show, I think it was, and of course the infamous Napalm Death show Nocturnus played with Godflesh. Oh man, it was just fucking killer, man. That's when I saw LA's death metal scene was sick at that time, man. I mean, I witnessed fire. Dude get stabbed to death. It got so crazy, But anyway, Laura was working with these bands, and we're just introduced to all these people. Me and Gene hit it off, and exchanged phone numbers, and we talked for here and there over the years, and then over more recent times, that guy's just so fucking busy. He's a fucking rock star. You know what I mean? But the cool thing is, a lot of people don't know, he wrote a lot of those Dark Angel riffs because he's a guitar player too. He's a great guitarist, Right.
Fuck yeah.
So we would always like talk about guitar shit and stuff like that, But yeah, back to Chuck, man. It was surreal, really surreal times, just opening up for somebody who you kind of just listened to when you got into metal and death metal and stuff like that. It was just really neat.
A real pioneer. I mean, let's be honest, a real actual pioneer in our thing, man. I mean, we hold him in such high regard for a reason,
No, man.
I know the debate rages. Would he still be doing death metal? I tend to believe he wouldn't be. I think he'd be very proggish these days if he was still.
I think, I was just going to say that, because wasn't he also in like a prog band or something like that before Death?
Yeah. Well, he was, I can't believe the name is escaping me right now. He had the prog band he was basically evolving into. He really didn't want to do the death stuff anymore, to be honest. Like, his record label was only willing to do the new album if he was willing to continue the death thing, because they had such a following. He didn't want to be a vocalist anymore. We were lucky enough to have Steve DiGiorgio from Testament, who at one point was in death, come on and tell us a lot of these stories and a lot of that stuff, which was, a highlight for me.
Amazing musician, man. God damn.
Steve?
Yeah.
Good Lord. And could he be in more projects? I'm trying to get him to come back on, and hopefully he will. But dude, I get the press releases because we do the show. I get my emails is about 3,000 press releases every day for different things that are being released. But I swear to you, 35 of them a day are like Steve DiGiorgio's guest appearance in this, and Steve DiGiorgio. Like, what the fuck doesn't this guy do, man? That's a busy cat, bro.
Good for him, man. That's sick, man. Anybody get him on their project, that's going to be a fucking awesome project, man.
Yeah, man. I hold him in the same regard that I do like a Stu Ham, honestly. I do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's every bit as talented, and he's ours. Yeah. He's ours. He's our metal guy. So that's
right. Awesome. Yeah. And when you heard him like on those death songs, it's like it was like his signature. You know what I mean?
Right. It's a state. It's creative in a way that is different. It just is.
Right. Yeah. And it was new at the time too. You know what I mean? So it was like, wow, this is really cool. And I think a lot of it is because of Schuldner's prog kind of, roots, you know what
tendencies,
I mean? Yeah. So thankfully, some of those albums were like so technical, but so smooth, and I hate the term groove or whatever. A lot of people take that the wrong way, but it had like this smoothness about it. You know what I mean? It just flowed really well,
Well, what I don't think enough people realize or appreciate about Chuck is what an engineer, I guess, if you will. He was the way he would put the songs together. He was very, Steve told us lots of stories about that, how he would change them up 3,000 different ways. Every time he come in the studio, he'd done something different to the song. Right. But by the time he put it together and released it to you, it was a feat. It was a thing,
Yeah. And it's so cool because like when I'll write, the guitar parts, and I'll think ahead, what drums and bass are doing on key parts, not the whole thing, just like highlighted parts. Same with vocals, and I'll give those ideas. to the other musicians and vocalists I'm working with, and then come up with something that I'm like, wow, this turned out better than I thought it was. But then you got a guy like Chuck who's also singing. You know what I mean? I can see the madness in this scientist brain, you know, where he's throwing, you know, if I do the verse here, switch it over here, do it half the time, you know, that kind of thing. He's probably going over all this shit because he's already got the vocal lines there and everything. You know what I mean? So yeah, that guy had a lot of shit going on in his head, man, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He was such a fucking badass, man. I hope he missed forever for me. You know.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
We celebrate his birthday around here and everything. So
yeah. And it's so cool because, you know, they have his signature, that stealth guitar that he has. I had a guy come in here, God, probably about 10 years ago, and had that guitar, and I was able to look at it, and it's fucking awesome guitar, man. You know what I mean? So that you know, that kind of thing, you know, his signature guitar is like his memories living through this and all these new kids coming up into death metal and everything like that, you know. And and it's so awesome, man, that all these new thrash bands, but they sound like late 80s thrash bands. You know, it's like kind of like Municipal Waste started a couple years ago, you know.
Right.
And it's huge now, and it's fucking awesome because we lost it for so many years. You know what I mean?
Man. Yeah.
And so much of the best metal. I mean, I love thrash. I you know, grew up on it and was in a bunch of thrash bands. You know what I mean? And my number one go-to thing, and a lot of them were just kind of swept under the rug. You know, once, you know, 1991 came, everyone was into, like, you know, the Seattle grunge thing and stuff like that. And then, but now it's like people know, you know what I mean? They're going back and they're listening to this shit, man. And then you got bands who are brand new, who sound like this, who are packing arenas. It's fucking awesome. I love it.
So awesome, man.
Yeah.
When we first started doing this show, the number one criticism that was levied at us is that we gave too much love to the thrash genre still. And people were telling us all the time, man, thrash is dead, dude. You got to move on. And honestly, I stuck to my guns on that. I felt like bands like Power Trip were bringing it back. I felt like bands like, you know, and let's be honest, there's a lot of bands that incorporate thrash and other elements, like, you know, Gate Creeper with kind of a hardcore crossover deathy thing. And, you know, I love all that. You know, and I just felt it coming back, man. And now look at what we're doing. You know, now you got bands like Plague Years and Forced and, you know, that are just destroying it, man, out there just killing it.
Yep.
I couldn't be more proud.
And it's amazing music for, like, you know, kids who are getting into music. And, you know, for me, it was like playing a thrash record back in the day was like Kill 'Em All, you know what I mean? Or Ride the Lightning, that kind of thing, you know? And so getting your chops up, you know, you'll get them quicker learning thrash than you do any other kind of fucking style. I don't care. The down picking, you know, everything, man. The riffing, it's got to be tight. It's got to be solid. You know what I mean? You can't fuck around with thrash music. You know, it's
so true.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, that's why I feel like it developed a bad rep over time. Because while that's good thrash you're describing, thrash, in my opinion, is also the easiest metal to just completely fuck it up. There's so many bands out there that do what I call thrash by numbers. It's very structured. It's very gang vocaled. It's very, you know, the lyrics are not, in my opinion, well thought out. You know what I mean? And I think people hear that and they're like, "Fuck thrash," you know. And it's easy. There's a bunch of those bands out there, but then if you dig through that though, and you find the Enforced and you find those bands, man, it's those bands that are switching it up with talented guitar players and have something to say. You know, you know, that's such a statement, you know?
Yeah, man.
Nothing's more fun than gangs singing along to a thrash song at top volume, man. I'll still put on Old Kill Overkill and Union We Stand, and I will march through this motherfucking studio like a fucking teenager with a boner.
Yeah. Hey, anytime Exodus does Toxic Waltz, it's the biggest mosh pit in the world, man.
Fucking, you know, right, brother. To this day, bro. That ain't going nowhere.
Right. That's funny.
Fuck yeah, man. Dude, and I think in times of strife, which I think certainly applies to where we're living at right now, let's be honest. But in times of craziness, two branches tend to appear. There's definitely that dark, thick art that's delving into what we're dealing with. But I think that that arm of thrash, that especially, let's be honest, what people have mockingly referred to as pizza thrash, if you will, which I think I'd take it as an affectionate term myself. I love it. But
what is it? Pizza thrash?
Pizza thrash. People have begun to call like municipal waste and bands like that pizza thrash, like it's stupid. It's meant to be a derogatory term. I love it. I'll take it. Chryslix, as a matter of fact, who we had on the show tonight, we just talked to earlier in the show, has a brand new EP called the Pizza EP, totally embracing the term. And I think that's the way to go.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But I think there's room for that. We need our fun. You need that release. You need to go in front of a stage and sing about pizza and say the world needs mosh and bang your body against your buddies.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You have to put something in there like that. I mean, even when we do shows, we'll do like another body murdered or something to switch it up, that kind of thing. And we haven't released it yet, but one of the songs that we did with Juan from LPD, which is from the Great Mexican Standoff, that's going to be released very soon.
Shout out to Juan. Love you, sir.
Yeah, Juan's fucking awesome, man. And he's one of the hardest workers I know, really is. And he's coming up with some really cool stuff, really is. That's going to be coming out, I think, October 4th, I think is the release date for that album.
So coming up.
So yeah. So what were we saying again? Sorry, I'm stoned.
Yeah, me too, brother. It's all good. But there's 2 dates for metalheads our age that will be living infamy. You're old like me, so the day we lost Cliff and the day we lost Chuck, man, those will be like.
I know, man. Yeah. When Cliff Burton died, I was like, when I heard Master of Puppets, it was like thrash metal Ghost Symphonic almost. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was like another level. You know what I mean? And then seeing them, I was able to see Cliff play when they opened for Ozzy on their tour.
Me too. Yeah. The Ultimate Sin tour. Yeah.
Yeah. Ultimate Sin. Yep. So I was glad at least I was able to see him, play with the band. And then it was like a couple months later, they had the accident and he died. And I was just like, fuck. I thought at the time that honestly, I didn't know if Metallica was going to keep going,
right?
Because Cliff was such a huge part of that band and how they wrote and all that stuff. I mean, he was
Anesthesia was so,
yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Man, so crazy. Well, then you were at the show. That was in July, right? That was in July of the year we lost him. I was there. Yeah. Were you at what's Capitol Center?
Capitol Center, yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Line on the side of the road on Central Avenue, and a fucking car rear-ended me, but it was like 10 cars back, and you know what I mean? And because I hit the car in front of me, it's like you're at fault for whoever you hit, you know what I mean? But it's this asshole who fucking did it. And he ended up taking off, and it was just like it was madness.
On that day, on the day of the Metallica show?
Yeah, on that day we're driving and we all had whiplash before we even got into the fucking show, man.
That's fucked, dude. That's fucked.
Yeah. Crazy.
That show, that exact show, I had an EXP. I had a white EXP.
Okay.
And fucking it was my very first car. We took black fucking electric tape and put pentagrams all over the car and Metallica all over the car and electric tape to go to the fucking show and shit. It was fucking
that's funny, man. You didn't get rear-ended, did you?
Yeah, no. We rear-ended some guy named Mike. No.
Right, yeah.
Oh, man. Fucked up, man. That's crazy. Yeah, that was a crazy show, man. But yeah, those dates will live in infamy, man. I remember where I was when we heard that Cliff died. I remember where I was when we heard that Chuck passed. And those are terrible days for metalheads.
I know, man. Yeah.
Fuck.
We got their music, keep the memory going,
But it is all about the music, man. And we're going to play here a couple of jams for everybody. We're going to play some Aeon, the new Aeon, by the way, great song. And we're going to play some Demonicus. But we're also going to play a brand new Snipers of Babel song here for everybody, man. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's a song called Digital Death. And it's kind of where we have been evolving to with warfare. It's more on a machine, more on a digital level, hopefully one day it won't involve any humans, hopefully one day we won't have war, you know what I mean? But that's kind of where technology based warfare, computerized kind of thing. That's basically what the song's about, how inhuman things are getting. We're headed in the wrong direction if something doesn't happen soon.
In so many ways, brother. In so many ways.
Yeah.
We have definitely entered into video game death, man. Video game war.
Yeah. Right.
You can sit back with a controller and kill real people now. That's a little alarming.
What's interesting is I heard like 7 or 8 years ago that our government has basically their ear to the ground on new talent when it comes to video gamers who are competing, who are, the competition drone flyers. Those guys are getting recruited into actually doing drone strikes. To them, it's like a video game. You know what I mean? And that's the people who are getting employed these days, believe it or not.
That's a scary correlation, man. The guy that used to sit in his basement and, create code is now fucking, creating weapons of mass destruction.
Basically, that's what the song's about. You hit it right there, man. Yeah.
A little bit concerning, brother. Well, fuck yeah, let's jam it then. Let's play some Aeon. Let's play the new Snipers of Babel song, which is what we just told you about. Let's play the Demonicus to poison everything behind that, and then can you hang out? Come back. We'll talk a little bit more before I let you go.
I got some more time. Yeah.
I love you, Mike. On a personal level, I love you, brother.
Love you, brother. Back.
Let's do this. Let's play some jams, including the new SOB, baby, and then we'll come back and hang out with Mike a little bit more.
Killer. Hang out. Don't go nowhere.
You're listening to Metal-O-Mania with the Crypt and Snipers of Babel.
Over the course of our time on Earth, our species has developed ever more inventive ways of taking the lives of our fellow human beings. A major conflict, perhaps a world war involving nuclear powers, would likely lead to the total extinction of the human race. Series of zeros and ones, a single clifton is done.
Devastation will be swift. The time is at hand. As Earth loses its grip.
Death by stereo.
All right, everybody, get up off the floor after that 3-pack of badassery just bowled you over. And I get it. I'm on the floor too. You can't see it, but I'm on the floor. But yeah, dude, man, great fucking. Those are all 3 badass jams. But dude, that new Cyber song, brother, killer. I'm a bit.
Thank
fucking,
you.
It's nothing new for you to hear from me at this point, but I'm a fan, sir. I am a fan, man.
Yeah, I hope you guys liked it. We wanted to get the digital guitar sound, you know what I mean, going back and forth. You know, that's kind of what spawned that whole idea of behind it and everything. I think it came across, hopefully. You know?
Well, I think so, brother. Very well. And with punishment, which of course I appreciate. So.
Yeah, excellent.
I like that you're never afraid to sprinkle some punishment in, sir. You know?
Yeah, you got to, man. You have to.
Right. It is metal after all. So, you know.
Yep.
Well, and we were talking a little bit earlier about that. We talked a little bit. It's funny to think that you and I were both at that same Metallica show, man. We didn't know each other back then, but we were both at that same show at the same place on that same day.
Yeah.
You know, pretty crazy, man. And then Metallica being such a huge part. It's crazy to think now because I see on social media all the time people shit on Metallica. I mean, it's become a metal pastime at this point to just shit all over Metallica. But man, they were so amazing back then, dude. You can't understate that, you know?
Yeah, they were just incredible, you know, incredible band. And
it was new. They were talented. It was.
Yeah, they spawned that whole Bay Area thrash thing. You know what I mean? It was they came out of them, you know. And there were so many good bands that, you know, were from that area that a lot of people don't even know about, man. You know what I mean? Underappreciated bands and undiscovered bands, and you know, I think recent times, you know, people are looking into more of, you know, the Bay Area thrash, you know, and then they're discovering them finally, you know what I mean?
So true.
But yeah, for years it was swept under the rug, you know?
Right. So true. Well, you know, I'm glad you touched on that, man. What I have a kind of a list that we keep, a kind of an unofficial list of bands that we definitely, I think, were criminally underappreciated, man. You know, Metallica was amazing, don't get me wrong, but they got all the love. Metallica, Megadeth, the big 4 kind of ended up getting all the love. You know, some people will definitely, like myself, I stick Overkill in there, but you know, Testament and Overkill, they got a lot of love. They weren't in the big 4, but they get a lot of the love. But there are so many bands that should have got more love that did not, man. You know?
I know.
What are some that come to your mind immediately, if you don't mind my throwing that question at you there?
Forbidden and Violence.
Oh.
And you have like two amazing thrash bands, but 2 totally different sounding thrash bands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got, you know, Sean Killian's more like got the punk influence, more hardcore street kind of vibe. And then you have Russ, who is just like an amazing singer and a screamer, you know, and it fits their styles perfectly. You know what I mean? Like you could never put, you know, Killian in Forbidden and then, you know, Russ in Violence. It would just be really weird, man. You know what I mean? But both bands are fucking amazing bands, amazing talent in their own right, you know. A lot of those guys I know, we hung out with and did shows with when we were living there, when I was in Oblivion, and great guys, man. You know, I'd be playing basketball with Sean Killian one minute and then going to see him, you know, Violence play at a sold out crowd at the Omni the next. You know what I mean? It was just like really cool, surreal times, you know, and it just sucks because they didn't get the more recognition that they deserved, man. You know, it's just so sad.
Eternal Nightmare is you know, that level to me, man. One of my greatest fucking moments on this show ever was having Sean Killian on the show, you know.
Yeah, man. He's such a cool guy, man. When we lived out there, he was like everybody's older brother. Like he looked out for us. He took us under his wing and showed us around and introduced us to everybody there, man. It was just such a cool guy, man. You know,
dude, that album meant so much to me, dude. Honestly, I'm not ashamed to admit that I am occasionally starstruck when we get a Steve DiGiorgio or a Billy Milano or something. But dude, I was so fucked when we talked to Sean Killian that I had to interview him a second time, which thankfully he was gracious enough to do, because the first time I failed to hit record, Mike. I didn't hit record.
Oh, that's right. You told me about that. Yeah. Oh man. But that, you know, he's gracious enough to do it again, you know?
Dude. Yeah, but you know, some metalheads out there might be hearing this for the first time, because I shy away from this because I'm so horribly ashamed of it. But dude, honestly, the interview was great, and he was gracious enough to come back a second time, which I love him for doing.
Yeah.
And it was a great interview. But man, the first time we talked that never got recorded, he told me stories about going to high school with Cliff Burton. He told me like
no
smoking
way.
joints with him and shit. Like, fuck, dude, I'm so it kills me to not have that, dude. It kills me.
That guy's got some amazing stories, dude. You know, because
Yeah.
he was around, you know, when the whole thrash thing was just blowing up. You know,
Yeah.
those times were, you know, had to be just amazing. You know, we moved out there right at the end of that. You know, 90, 91 was when we were out there, and you know, just thrash was getting just overlooked, man. You know,
yeah.
I mean, we had an offer from Relativity that, you know, to do a record, you know, for fucking Relativity, which was Combat, you know, pulled because they're just not into thrash anymore. You know, it sucked, you know.
The 91, 92 for me, those years I view in almost a dark cloud because that grunge crap was taking over. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you people out there love it, and I don't fault you for it. If you love it, that's great. I don't. I'm not a fan. I didn't like it.
I love Alice in Chains and a couple other songs from other bands, but on a level of replacing thrash, no way.
No way, dude. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I'll never get it. I'll never understand how a generation almost overnight went from angry with jean jackets on to sullen and sad with flannel on. It happened in a minute. It happened like that.
It was so weird. So weird.
Oh, it was surreal. Yeah. And I hate it. And honestly, I am accused often of unfairly hating the grunge style of music because of it. And I own that. You're totally right. People accuse me of that. You are 1000% correct. I resent it for what it became, and I hold it accountable. I personally view Alice in Chains as a hard rock band, not a grunge band personally, because I do also like Alice in Chains. So I justify it by removing them from that group because I'm an asshole.
Right. Yeah.
But, you know, but dude, the grunge movement has come to represent the death of thrash in many ways to not just me, to reality. I mean,
yeah.
And I hate it for it. How the fuck that crappy, syrupy, feel sorry for yourself music took over. I'll never get it. I'll never get it as long as I live.
I don't understand it either, man. I really don't. It's like music for the masses, I guess. You know, if you're in a progressive death metal or thrash band, and then this 3-chord songs come through on the radio, and it kills everything you're doing, you're just like, what the fuck did I just learn guitar for so many years? And now it's like, you know, you can teach somebody how to do that in a week. You know what I mean? You know, and I'm not, you know, like you said, it's like there's some bands in that whole movement who are really good. You know, for me, it's like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, and stuff like that. And they are all basically good musicians, you know, in their own right. But it was almost a fad to dumb down music at that time, and I didn't understand it. You know what I mean?
I'll never understand it.
Yeah. I think and I'm not saying this is dumbed down metal by any means, but do you remember Forced Entry?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the only Seattle band I really loved, you know, because
Forced Entry was a metal band, so.
They were awesome, man. They were fucking, for a 3-piece, you know, they had a big sound, and they were really progressive, and they're just a really good band, you know. Another one was Coroner. I think they were a 3-piece also.
Yeah.
And bass player sang. They did some good shit too, man. And so there's definitely a lot of bands that shouldn't get overlooked, you know.
Well, you know, we're talking about thrash bands that might have been overlooked a little bit, but you should come and do a whole show with me about that. Bands that were overlooked because grunge came along, because there's so many of them. There was great talent. You know, the world turned its shoulder against it all at once in unison for some reason. But there was such an amazing amount of talent there. There was so many bands that weren't appreciated the way that Forced Entry being one of them, honestly. I mean, but like, yeah, Jason Bittner's band Shadows Fall was one of those bands, man. They were just an amazing band. Now, some of it edged on maybe the new metal stuff, but the stuff that didn't, I thought was really great. You know, and they're underappreciated probably. So,
and you know what, man, there were also like a couple really good Christian thrash bands like Believer, and there was another one, I forgot their name. And then you had other bands, I don't know if they were like a Christian band or not, but like bands like Watchtower that were doing just stuff that was like kind of like beyond years, you know what I mean? To a lot of bringing that kind of style into metal, you know what I mean? It was just really neat.
Incorporating a lot of unusual elements, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty good stuff.
Confessor was another one where the music was like really slow and plotty, and the singing was really, really high, like a high range vocal range singing. You know, it's really different, you know, and I think they should have gotten a lot farther than they did. You know, I think they just kind of were a bigger local North Carolina band kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Right. So much of that is guilty of just timing. I really can't. Different things over the course of, you know, if it came out in a different era, it would have blown up, and it came out at the wrong time, man. So many of those bands just came out when people were starting to turn away from metal for whatever reason and turn to the grunge thing. And, you know, had some of those albums literally come out on 1 year sooner, they would be, you know, hallmark albums in our metal thing. So it's so much of that comes to timing.
And, you know, like bands like Pantera, they kind of bridge that gap between the grunge and the thrash, where the thrash was a little more groove because of the Pantera kind of riffs, but they still had that thrash kind of vibe to it. So in a way, it kind of made me feel like they were still carrying the torch. You know what I mean?
Right.
And getting really popular too in their own right. You know what I mean?
Well, and they were one of the bands that reached the metal market. Let's be honest. When that went down, there was a bunch of us. There was millions of you and me out there that were like, "What the fuck is happening? You know, where is the metal? What is going on?" And we did reach out to bands like Pantera. There was that they were a lifeline for us.
Yeah.
You know, Municipal Waste is another big one in my opinion that was still out there making good metal albums despite the fact that, you know.
Yeah, and it's like, a lot of people haven't even like heard about them until like more recent times. You know what I mean? Another band that was just kind of like doing really good and very talented band and good guys. You know, we had the pleasure of sharing the same plane flight, you know, out to the Tecate Metal Fest in Mexico, and we stayed at the same place and everything. So we, you know, got to talk to them and stuff like that, and super cool dudes, you know.
Pantera, you mean?
Municipal Waste.
Municipal. Oh, right.
Yeah. We did run into Phil Anselmo out there. He you know, his band was out there playing, so that was kind of cool. You know what I mean? Meeting him and I know it was Jeremy and Tommy's, like, you know, kind of idols. You know, really look up to that guy. You know, and again, he was a super cool guy, man. You know, he just really nice, down to earth. You know.
Fuck yeah. I'd like to get him on the show eventually. Hopefully we will. Keep your fingers crossed.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
And speaking of Municipal Waste, I'm trying to get Landfill on, so keep your fingers crossed for that too, man. We've just missed each other a couple of times, so we'll see what happens.
Perfect. Yep. Yeah. Excellent.
That's good shit, man. Well, dude, man, none of those guests, whether they be Steve DiGiorgio all the way to whoever, mean as much to me as when you come by and hang out with me, Mike. For real, man. You're metal family to me, brother.
You're too kind, man. Too kind. It's always a pleasure and always fun, you know.
Love you with all my metal guts, my friend, for sure.
Love you back, brother.
And dude, I appreciate what a warrior badass you are, even if I know you might look in the mirror trying to find that motherfucker all the time, but every time I see you, I see the warrior badass, my friend. So
thank you.
Never forget that shit.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
You rule, man. You rule. Hey, when the world opens up a little bit, we'll get you back in studio again. We'll do the whole in-person thing.
Got to, man. It's always a fun time, and if they only knew the behind the scenes, they would see how much more fun it really is, man.
Fuck yeah, brother. Let's do it.
Yeah.
They don't call it Smoke Ring Studio for nothing, you know?
Yeah, right. It's like Spicoli's Volkswagen bus in Fast Times.
Fuck I think that's what that's the way our studio door looks when we open the door. We come rolling out and do the show.
Right. Yeah. All the smoke pouring out.
I love it. Well, fuck yeah, man. I'm going to hold you to it, man, in person sometime soon, hopefully.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's good shit, man. Thank you for hanging out with me, Mike. Let's play a couple of jams for everybody. What do you think?
That sounds good.
Fuck
Let's
yeah.
do it.
I believe I have some Death Perception and some Flesh Pit. So what the fuck, man?
Okay.
Good shit to listen to as we exit, right?
Excellent. Yeah, man.
But metalheads, don't go anywhere, because when you do come back after these 2 jams, I believe Scully's going to come back and hang out with me a little bit longer, and then we'll have a couple more songs for you before we get out of here for the night. So don't go anywhere, metalheads. Enjoy these jams. Thank you. If you're not already following Snipers of Babel, please do, and show them cats the love, because you certainly have all of mine, my friend.
Thank you. Hey, man, thanks for getting me on the show. I love you guys. Love you, Chris and Scully, and everything you all are doing, man. And hope you guys enjoy the music, and we're going to keep throwing it at you. So,
hey, man, I'm a fan. You keep making it. We'll keep playing it, brother.
awesome. Sounds good, Chris. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Until next time, my friend.
Awesome. See you guys.